Hello and welcome to another Toonkind at 12 FPS. My name is Winona and I am with two amazing, lovely, awesome people. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Hi. Um, I am Authenticity. Today I'll be playing TikTok Chicken. Um, who is coping?
Valid. Hi, I'm Candlestick. And I'm going to be playing my has absolutely no idea what she's getting herself into, Dr. Crystal Everlight. Yeah, this is exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
Which is fair. You just see what you saw in the paper about a group of people, including TOC. Well, TOC's probably just came home right away, right? And just
Yeah,
told.
Yeah,
I don't even know if she's seen the paper yet because she would have
No.
seen TOC like the morning after it happened.
Yeah. So TOC, would you like to do a little summary of what happened after the professor dropped you off?
there is a dragon.
For hands. You fought a dragon.
Yes, she was embezzling university funds. She was also just a massive, massive, massive bitch.
Yeah, from what little I was able to know about her, that tracks. The dragon stuff is new information though.
The professor was a Tyrannosaurus Rex for a while,
Uh,
on purpose.
um, okay. And you're all alright?
They look very scuffed, a little dusty, and extremely tired. You might get the idea that they may not have taken a long rest yet. Um, but they're just like, I'm fine.
Mm, you should
There
sleep.
was, I should sleep. However, I'm not going to because, and they point, I need someone with intelligence.
Um, Flattered, but does it have to be now? You really look like you could use some sleep.
Roll a persuasion check.
Oh, good. I do love her. Hold on, where is your character sheet? There it is. Persuasion. That's what I thought. Is Dice Parcel working again, or is it still not?
I thought it was working because people were putting it back on their servers.
Hmm.
I think you need to take it off and put it back on again.
Ah,
Yeah.
I didn't realize this.
That's alright. I have physical dice.
All right, go do it.
So to buy it there in the box, whoever.
I don't think that's gonna work.
Um, I think that they just kind of go, well, I will sleep. But first, there was, uh, I pulled the curtain back to look at Winona.
Yes.
Should they mention the goo or should they not?
You could say that is your choice. That is your
Okay.
choice.
I
No,
mean,
they'd be like, yeah, there was some.
canonically, Crystal did chew out the professor in the AI chat about the goose. So.
They're just like, well, once he was done being a dinosaur, whatever that is, um, the professor found some goop.
Okay.
And he decided, in his infinite professorial wisdom, to touch the goop. And I, there was a thing move. I'm pretty sure he's fine. I'm pretty sure he's fine. However, I feel like this is a time-sensitive issue in case he's not fine. And like as they're talking, like they're they're not quite panicking, but you know that like weird frenetic too tired energy that's um like this is having this over their head is not doing TOC's health any favors.
Yeah, that like I'm not going to be able to rest properly until I put this down or have
Yeah,
answers.
I really need to know that my friend is not going to, um his chest isn't going to be like exploded by an alien, or like he's gonna be mind controlled, or he's gonna like they start listing different shit, some of which has actually happened to some of their friends.
Yeah, there's probably things in there that Crystal is familiar with as well, given her background, and the sort of things she probably sees in her day-to-day job. There is just that level of like prayer hands of why must I be surrounded by idiots kind of look like, why must I care for people who constantly put themselves in danger? Like, with if they just took a few seconds to think things through, she's just like, all right, yeah, all right.
Which I will pull back. Which I will pull back the curtain canonically, because I will tell the audience that we did slightly retcon that scene and say the group did not go into the professor, but it sure did try.
That's enough for TOC. So yeah, I think they finish it up with just like, so I would like to bring you along to make sure that by involving you now, we don't need to involve you once the professor is like a gross tentacle thing.
Appreciated. All right. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. Give me 2 seconds to gather some stuff, and then I'll be good to go. And yeah, she's should I roll an investigation to see how she goes gathering her stuff up around the house?
Yeah, why not? Let's have some fun.
Oh, well, she finds it pretty easily.
Yeah.
Because that's a 23.
Yep, that's a 23. You find it easily.
She knows where this stuff is. She probably has to know where it is because she's probably had to move it on a spontaneous moment's notice to ensure that it hasn't gotten wrecked by other members of the house, like Juniper's cooking or Marigold's enthusiasm or things like that.
Yeah.
I love the implication that Juniper's cooking is a separate entity. Juniper we trust. Her cooking,
not
we
so
have
much.
Maybe yeah.
So you guys are going right now at near midnight.
I feel like TAC will like, they're not worried about their own health. They are worried about Crystal's because she's got a lot going on. You know, she's some major life changes going on. So they will like be like, okay, maybe we should wait till morning.
Yeah, I think considering it is midnight, that Crystal would attempt to push the, are you sure you don't want a short rest? And we can go early in the morning.
They will take a short rest.
All right. Sounds good. And when you wake up, maybe have breakfast. Who knows? There's a teleportation circle that leads straight to the university. It's not hard to get there.
Yeah, it's, if anyone like took note of TAC beforehand, the chicken is back now. Excuse me.
However, when you get to campus, it's actually pretty dead. Not many students about. Like, there are a few, but they don't, like, they're not stepping with purpose.
Huh. I feel like, because I mean, one hand, it is very early in the morning, and
How early in the morning?
that's usually the time that a university is going to be pretty dead anyway.
Yeah.
But I feel like maybe rolling something to get a feel of if this is unusual or not.
Yeah, you can
what
make it.
would
You can make it. Yeah, you can make an insider investigation to feel the vibe of this campus around like 9 or 8 o'clock in the morning.
Alright, cool. Investigation I'm going for because it's much better than my insight. Oh, okay. Well,
Do. Sorry, that was perception or investigation or just
Nat
investigation?
20! Investigation or insight.
Insight. Excuse me. I'm still waking up.
You're fine. So am I. That's
Nat 20 plus 8.
See, I Nat 20 for me is a critical success, so you're fine. Candle. Yeah, Crystal feels like, yeah, this is not a bad vibe in the case of something bad's gonna happen, but this is a bad vibe that says like everyone is very, very nervous. Like, they say, you know for a fact that everyone has heard about this by now. And it seems like the professors have, like, you could probably assume with a nat 20 that they canceled all classes for this.
I mean, understandable. The headmistress just got arrested.
Yeah.
And you also feel a lot of panic. You just get a vibe of panic because no one knows what's gonna happen.
Yeah. Also, sorry, author, talked over the top of you.
You're okay. I was just gonna be like, that was a natural 19 plus 7.
Yeah, maybe TOC. Yeah, maybe TOC wouldn't get that. Maybe the classes were canceled, but you definitely feel like, yeah, everyone is extremely worried.
Understandable. Have a good day.
And with that nat 20 also, Candle, you see a lot more cops around campus.
Yeah, that's not very usual on campus. There's a little bit of an arched eyebrow, but you know, I guess that makes sense if what TOC said happened. So, I think Crystal's going to let TOC take the lead though, because like this was like TOC asked for her help and probably knows more about it, so what they want to do is what Crystal is willing to take the lead on, at least for now, until they think that there is a better way about going about it. But this sort of part is not really her expertise. So yeah, I think she's gonna turn to TSC and so where first?
TUC, who is not built for this either. Well, question, Winona, was it like, do they get the general vibe that like taking her down to like the hidden passage would be best? Taking her to like see someone who's in the know? Like,
either way could, like, if you want to go to the administrative building and try to get into the secret passage, which would probably lead to talking with the cops, or you could see someone else to see what's going on. Both are valid choices, but it's up to you how you want to handle this.
I think that like before they definitely want to take her, down to the chamber because yeah, they don't really have the words for that. They're just like, you know what? I think we're visiting the theater department. Where the heck is Amos?
All right. You go to the theater department, which, again, pretty dead. However, you do, or at least for students, it's pretty dead. However, you do hear noise as the theater doors are closed.
Mm-hmm.
Too early for a performance. Rehearsal, perhaps?
Possibly. Can they open the doors and peek inside?
You could, yeah, say they're not locked. As you look inside, you see Amos on stage with a microphone, and however, they seem to not be students. Say you can definitely tell with even just a passive that these look to be other professors, and he seems to be addressing them, and he hasn't even noticed you guys yet.
What's he saying?
You can make a perception check.
Sure.
Fair enough.
3 plus 10. Broken chicken, broken chicken, broken chicken.
I can't believe it. It's a nat 1.
Oh no.
All right. You know what? Let's have fun. Make a dexterity check, Candle.
Oh, good. Oh, good. All right. Sorry. Let me just check. What is your dex? Dex save or dex, or just a dex?
Just a dex.
All right. It's the same modifier anyway, so. Oh, fantastic. That's an 8.
Oh no. Can TC do anything? Or
here's the thing, TOC. You at first hear it's like, oh, he's addressing the professors about the situation at hand, that the headmistress is out of commission and stuff, and he was about to talk into some probably more serious vibes. However, Crystal, at first you just can't really hear. Maybe the mic stopped working for a second, so you just try to inch in closer. However, you accidentally trip over the chicken, and you make a scene as you just burst through the door.
Oh, fantastic.
And everyone's looking at both of you.
TAC stares back. Got something to say?
Why the heck are you here? You need to be resting.
That was what I said, but, they said they would rest better knowing more about, the goop that was found inside. Hi. Dr. Crystal Everlight. I work with, I'm a researcher in magical maladies and, unknown magical sources.
Ugh. Amos just runs a hand down his beak. I can understand the worry, but also, you gotta take care of yourself. I don't care if you're a barbarian. You need to take care of yourself.
This is self-care.
You know you're in a room full of bards.
TC just, looks at him.
Crystal's gonna raise her hand, and if you're talking about sleep, you're probably gonna put a lot more people to sleep before the chicken, considering. She points to herself, wizard, and then points at TOC, barbarian.
Again, there's a room
There
full
shall be
of...
a ruckus.
Do you think we're afraid not to try? I say we all care. I say this isn't. I'll talk to you later, but this say I need to address the professors here. I say there's a lot to talk about. The heads have already started talking, and we've already started organizing. But it's a complete mess.
You go, Arthur.
Sorry, like TUC is just like I think that like they're just going to sort of settle in the doorway to here unless like they're shoot away.
Ah, yeah. Crystal, she does not know what to do because, like, she doesn't want to intrude. Um, but at the same time, like, she kind of wants to get this done with because if TOC is worried, then like from what Crystal's been able to tell, TOC has pretty good judgment on things and is usually pretty level-headed. So that does belay a certain level of urgency, and also the sooner it's done, the sooner that TOC will go to sleep. So I think she might pipe up with the we don't want to get in the way or intrude, but we believe that it would be valuable for myself to be able to investigate the scene of the crime to check it over for um, anything that should not be there or that is potentially dangerous to others.
I say, I understand. If you want to investigate the site, the police captain is already on the site there. If you want to get in, I'm pretty sure he'll let you.
I think TUC gives them a nod and they're just like, excellent cops. Well, they just like catch up later. Jesus.
Amos nods. Alright, I say I'll be in my office later this afternoon. I'm not gonna be probably leaving the building for a while.
Yeah, there's a bit
Understandable.
of a wince at that.
Yeah,
I think they just leave.
yeah.
Yeah, I think Crystal's gonna say a small thank you and follow TOC out.
Yeah, Amos gives a little you're welcome, and you leave the room, and then he starts talking. You hear like muffled noises as you hear him start talking again. Though you could definitely tell from the last time you met him, author, that is say that TOC recognizes like this man is very tired and a lot has happened, and he is much more like serious than lighter in mood than again you originally met him.
I mean, understandable. His boss, who was blackmailing Amos's wife, got fucking beat up.
Yeah, and he has to deal with the fallout of everything, at least in the bar department, Barton
Mm-hmm.
Theater.
No one thinks about the fallout.
Hmm. Maybe he did, but at the same time, he has to still deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you could talk to him about that later if you want. If you got say if you guys want to go to the administration building and see if you can find the police captain.
Yep, why
TUC has
not?
met the police captain at this point, right?
Yes, you have a dark. Say you know him as a doc. As say Captain Luma.
Yeah, they Hey Captain Luma, it's the chicken again.
Yeah, and you go to the building and it's absolutely crawling with cops. It's just like it's more cops than staff, really, and all of them are very much on edge as you get up to the building. And one of them actually stopped. He's like, "Holt, what say? Who are you?"
Dr. Crystal Everlight. I am a researcher in magical unknown. Sorry, pardon me. This is me, the player. Give
You're
me a
fine.
moment. Researcher in identification and mitigation of unknown magical sources and maladies.
The cop then looks at the chicken.
This is TOC.
I was here earlier.
TOC. You mean, were you one of the adventurers that defeated the headmistress?
Yes.
I see. And what is your relationship to this researcher?
Parent.
Okay, hold on, give me a moment.
You okay?
Yep. Oh, good. All right. Yep. She's spluttering a little bit, like, what?
I'm sorry, you asked a tired TOC. Their cat they left down there with the dragon.
It's just like this. That's a 13 in total, so there is like that sort of startle and then that look. But she's not going to refute it in front of the police officer. But there is like a whispered, "You and I are going to need to talk about this later."
Yeah.
TOC, you may have forgotten that you need to talk about these things.
The cop does give a little eyebrow, but then a tiny nod. I see. Then, yes. I mean, Captain Luma was needing speaking to you anyways. And, he looks at Crystal. I mean, there are going to be some heavy topics. Are you going to be comfortable with that, miss?
There's just the single eyebrow raised with the like. Do you realize I just said what my job was before?
Please
Like
understand,
she
ma'am. I'm
has.
just doing my job.
Yeah. There's just a. Yes, think I am perfectly capable of handling whatever it is that has been. That has happened. This is not the first case that I have been called into, or the results of an adventuring mishap.
I see. If you're used to working on cases, that would help. That would be very helpful, since this case has. Well, I'll let the captain explain stuff. As this cop, who looks to be he's a real kind. It's a lanky, real kind man, and he leads you guys to looks to be like a spare office, and you can see there's papers all around. It looks like they're trying to make sure every corner of this place is well covered. As you see Captain Luma, which is like I said, a black moth with a police captain's cap on top of his head. He kind of looks like Batman with his like wings like covering him, like you know how the cloak just like wraps around him and it sort of moves with his body. Yeah, that's the same sort of vibe with this police captain. As there's other people in the room too, and they seem to be also doing research and mainly schematics of the building and stuff. But everything seems to freeze when the doors open and they look at you. Ah, I did not expect you to be back.
Yeah, I've been told we're like a bad rash. This is Dr. Everlight. Gestures.
Crystal will nod her head.
The captain looks towards the police that man that led you, and he's like, that's their researcher and child. So I think they can help with the case, sir.
Hold on. I think I need to roll a history real quick. Which is great because that's a -1. 3 -1. TFC does not realize that they haven't discussed this with Candle. They're just like, yes, my child.
I feel like I'm gonna roll a deception for Crystal to see if she makes a face at the being referred to as child. Oh, that's a nat 1. That's a nat 1 +1. Oh, she definitely pulls a face. You all can tell.
Yeah, the police captain raises an eyebrow, but he then makes a motion for them to be alone in the room. I hope, say, have you worked on any cases before, Dr.
Everlight.
Everlight?
Yes.
Sorry, that was me as a player, forgetting for a second.
That's fair. That's fine.
Dr. Everlight.
Yes, I have. Probably the most prominent one that you might be aware of is that I have been helping out Detective Moria with the aberration cases, amongst others.
Yes, I've definitely heard of the aberration case. Which is good to hear that you do have some experience. As all the police officers then leave the room and it leaves them two alone. Because this case has gotten much more, well, complicated.
It's gotten more complicated in the 5 hours since you and I last saw each other.
Indeed. Please sit down. As he motions to some chairs, as he sits down himself.
Yeah, Crystal will sit. Question: where does TOC sit?
On the table because chairs are for chumps. They're just like a little fluffy potato there.
I was actually going to write a letter somewhat soon to all of you guys because the situation has now changed.
How so?
The previous headmistress, Dorothea Umbra, has been declared dead.
What are the details?
TUC tilts their head. But she was fine 5 hours ago. That's some extremely quick turnaround.
Indeed. We don't know how the person got in, and he motions towards the schematics on the desk. However, we suspect possibly a secret entrance of some kind, because we're pretty sure that they couldn't sneak in the front door. No one saw them. I had multiple guards up. However, when they got into the actual chamber, they first knocked out all the guards around resting at the campfire, and then somehow knocked everyone else out. Half of it was due to magic, from what we can tell. Half of it was not, since there were officers that were patrolling that had contusions on the back of their head.
So that sounds like the work of 2 people.
We cannot confirm that yet.
Can you roll an insight to see if they're being questioned as people? Like, are they persons of interest or are they suspects? There's a difference.
They're not treated as suspects. You could tell that for sure off the bat. They are telling this as someone that they may be like this is like they just took down this person and now they're dead. He's worried about they may be targeted next.
I mean, this is fairly out of my field of expertise, but was there anything else missing afterwards? Or was it just the assassination, I suppose, for lack of a better term?
Well, according to the report that you say, reports from my guards and the testimony that was given to you, that there was a gem that fell off of, say, previous headmistress Umbra's chest, and that gem was missing.
Missing entirely.
Yes, all the shattered remains have been taken.
What about the goop?
What goop? The black ichor is there, but there was no goop.
Oh, that is definitely not good.
TOC has a theory. TOC feels like it's a dumb theory, but TOC has a theory. They're just like, yes, TOC, I think this is definitely going to help me sleep at night. I think, I'm gonna roll something to see if they feel comfortable enough around this police inspector to. That's a 5. They're gonna save it.
Mm-hmm.
This is for Crystal. This is not for whoever this is.
We have taken samples of the ichor that was splattered along with the crystal, and they're being analyzed right now.
Crystal will nod at that. That sounds like pretty standard procedure. But would you mind if I took a look around the area? Since I have a fairly unique experience with uncommon magic sources, I might be able to find something that had been potentially missed, or give insight to the people doing the investigation.
He nods. Yes, but I will warn you that the way that she died was blood force trauma, and, well, with a bludgeoning weapon, and it was not pretty. We have it covered right now, but it isn't a pretty sight.
No, unfortunately, these things rarely are.
I just wanted to prepare you mentally before going down there. I understand that you're researchers, but you're also somewhat civilians too, and I want to make sure that whatever happens next you're comfortable with seeing these things.
We appreciate that. Have any of the guards given statements yet?
They have not. They're being checked over right now, the ones that were on guard, to see if there were any remnants of magical or anything otherwise left on them during their attack.
I think at some point it might be useful to talk to them.
I assure you that we will. We're more concerned about the book and the pen that she has, and we analyze the magic to be curse-based, of course, along with some enchantment, but we are still trying to figure out how to possibly break this curse.
What have you tried so far?
Well, and me as someone who is trying to think of magical bullshit, and he basically lists off all, the standard practices of trying to uncurse magic items, like from the lower level stuff, and to start.
So, lesser restoration, dispel magic, remove curse. That's second and third level. I think greater restoration is 5th level.
Yeah, there is a. And they get. He say we've gone to greater restoration, and it has dampened the effects a bit, but has not fully removed the curse yet. However, we noticed that, at least by studying some of its contents, that the curse only really takes effect when someone writes into the book. So no one should say is under control, is like under someone's control, because of, well, we have the book.
Have you separated the pen and the book?
We tried, but they seem to always go back together. We did find that out. That this is a curse set, which may be also the reason why it's a bit harder to break.
Yes, this definitely seems like fairly high-level magic, if it's not being that... Yeah, there are very few things beyond greater restoration that is possible to break that sort of magic.
We will most likely need to find an expert on breaking curses. But as of right now, we're trying to investigate this murder. I will also let you know that we are trying to keep this quiet. People say the heads of the department know of the murder, but we suggested that they do not tell the professors about them at this time because we have so little information.
That is fair enough. I do not think I will... I can only speak for myself when I say that I do not plan on sharing this information with anyone who does not need to know it. But I also wish you luck with that, because I am well aware of how fast news travels.
Indeed. And with the state of this university right now, we're trying not to incite panic. This place is already panic enough.
I will need to inform my fiance, and I will need to inform the professor and I and Scribbles have another co-parent in order to make sure that our family is safe.
Understandable, and I'm more than willing to offer services and or connections if need be. If you feel strongly that you need more, say, protection than that.
I think TUC and Candle kind of share a look because they know Detective Stagehand.
Yeah.
They could disappear off the fucking planet if they need be.
Yeah. I think actually along those lines, Crystal will say, there are not many that I can think that I would need to share the information with, but I do frequent a fair few detectives, both in Toontown and in Villestown, who may need to know that information if they decide to come on this case or to the city, or in order for further protection of TOC and Scribbles and the rest of the people who are involved here.
I'll make sure to write a report then to summarize all the information that we have now. I am still under distress that this happened underneath my watch, but my job is to protect the people, and more hands are helpful.
Of course. Crystal's gonna look at TOC in case they disagree, but then say, well, we shan't like to waste any more of your time than we already had. I'm sure you have plenty to do today.
Yes, but I will show you the site myself. I do consider this a very serious matter.
Appreciated.
As he then stands up to say, I know you probably know the way, but I still feel strongly that I lead you there myself.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I think they follow him.
Yep. I'm just going to check my spell stuff at the moment, because I'm potentially thinking of one, and I just don't know whether I want to use it now or a little bit later.
Fair enough.
I think TOC kind of hangs back to talk with Crystal and sign behind this guy's back. And while she's paging through her spell book, they'll be quiet. Slash, I will be quiet while Candles looks at her stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
they
I got
do
it.
have something that they want to say.
Yeah, you can go for that first.
I think that they're just I apologize for bringing you in. I know that your family can't it has enough heat on it already. But thank you again for being here.
Sometimes these things can't be helped, and I wanted to help. I should be fine. It is not so easy to track my family back through me. There's a reason I changed my last name.
Nod. I have two thoughts so far. First is that someone used us, used me, the Professor Scribbles, Marigold, everyone, to do their dirty work. We mostly took down a dragon and they finished the job.
Perhaps it was, is not uncommon for people who are in a partnership of some sort to be removed from giving away those partners if they are compromised.
Charming.
Hmm.
And okay. You are not allowed to laugh. But am I insane for thinking that the goo is gone? They don't know how the person got in. Could the goop have killed the professor?
Potentially. The other option is that it could have infected one of the police here, and they did it.
Yes, it's I think that it's worth it to check in perhaps with the people who were there, see if, one of them was bludgeoned over the head from behind by one, or from the front by one of their, their coworkers.
Yes.
But I'm not built for this, but this doesn't feel right. Well, someone's dead. There's not like a good feeling for that one, but TUC kind of like shakes their head. They're very tired. I'm very out of it. They don't know why they're being expected to be a detective when they're this tired. But I think
they did this
just
to
sort of
themselves.
Yeah. But they just sort of subside.
No. I understand what you're saying. I was not here the last time I've been to this university was probably over 5 or so years ago. And even then, I did not come here explicitly very much, so my baseline of this is far from perfect, but something definitely seems off.
I mean, it's a rotten place. That I think we can all disagree that um this university is, the only word I can think of is ill.
Yes, the comprehensiveness of the information they have here is extensive, but the people can be particularly narrow-minded, and that is coming from me.
They I think they cackle a little bit. Which may startle the police chief because it's the only like vocal sounding sound that this chicken makes
Yeah,
is sort of this strangely human sounding laughter.
yeah. You see his antennae prick up, his furry antennae prick up a little bit and look back. Is everything all right?
They sound fine.
He nods.
They go, well, I think I at least picked the right person to bring along. I very much bit my tongue when they were talking about bringing in a curse expert because, to the best of my ability, if that's not what you are, that's what you'll be with like, once your degree is finished.
I suppose so, yes. I do not specialize specifically in curses, so I do not know any of the much higher level spells, but I've been doing this for many, many years, so yes.
Why couldn't they have
My
had the decency to wait a few more years until they killed this person?
Yes, well, unfortunately, if people did everything we wanted, then wouldn't be cases like this in the first place.
Mm.
But then again, I probably wouldn't have met you in that case.
That's fair. If people did what they were supposed to, well, at the very least, that would be a very boring state of affairs.
And you know how toons hate boredom.
Question: how much do we trust this person in front of us?
I don't know. I've never been particularly good at reading people.
I am good at reading people, but um, it's, believe it or not, I haven't been around too much murder. Well, this kind of murder. There are other sorts, but I don't know. I feel very paranoid. However, the fact that a woman is dead does make me feel a little bit better about not trusting anyone or anything.
Yes. I tend to try and trust the institutions that are in place because I believe that they are in place for a reason and that they should be utilized ideally to protect people, but that does not mean that it they are infallible, and as you pointed out, one of our running theories is that someone here is, at the very least, compromised, whether they know it or not. So, being careful with the information we provide them may be an advantage at the moment.
Question: Crystal is signing this, right?
Yes, she would be.
Yeah, I think it's like as we subside into silence, like the alternate version of this scene is like they just walk down this corridor in just absolute silence. One of the people laughs for some reason while they're talking about or while they're thinking about murder. He's like, "What's going on?" They're like, "Nothing." Uh I don't know. This is just a very different scene from the alternate perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. He's just he's keeping a professional image right now. Like, you get the vibe that this guy's been around the beat too. And it's just like, he knows how to act.
Can TUC roll an insight on
Yes,
this guy?
of course.
I'm gonna give that a go as well, even though my insight on Crystal is not great, and she usually rolls terrible.
19 plus 7 would be 26.
Alright.
It's not too bad. That's a 16 from Crystal.
Yeah, you can both tell that this guy is, only from what you can tell, is being truthful. All he wants to do is make sure that whoever did this is brought to justice. You don't get a bad cop vibe from him. He's trying to be a good cop. You could definitely tell though that he's just trying to keep it all in right now for sure. TOC, you definitely can tell that. It's just like, he is distressed about this situation, but he is doing a very extremely good job at covering his emotions right now. And you could probably tell us like you get a feeling like he has to, otherwise even more stuff will probably go into chaos, and that's not what they need right now.
So if he is hiding something, he doesn't know that he's hiding something.
Mm-hmm.
It's more, yeah, you just know that he's probably hiding his feelings, because you can sort of see like his like fur, like sort of like you like flooped up a little bit in just like distress, because he is stressed about this. But
Yeah.
but his face is not showing it at all.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. I think that they just know that, like, okay, that's the sort of person that this investigator is. They may have to deal with him a lot, so that's good to know.
Mm-hmm. And you eventually reach her office, and then the secret passage that you go all the way down and stuff. And you eventually get back to the Horde. Which, all the gold is still there. But of course, that's a lot of gold, gems, and other things that they had to eventually sift through.
Mm-hmm.
I just had the mental image of, like, the forensics team showing up and just being like, oh, dang it.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, the first thing that Crystal's going to do, which may or may not be a bad idea, that this much she is aware, is she's going to cast Detect Magic. So, which is concentration up to 10 minutes.
You definitely feel magic in the area. Very draconic magic. You could definitely tell this is a dragon's horde. For sure. The crystals there probably arrived. The pink crystals that are like sticking up and lighting up the whole space were probably were quote unquote made by the dragon because of how powerful they were. Because it's just like crystals form whenever a dragon makes its hoard, which you could definitely tell that maybe this has the essence of maybe a gem dragon.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I just posted the spell description in the chat so
Yeah.
that you can see it. Okay. Well, she will probably continue to sign this to TOC to keep them up to date. I do want to mention, just for flavor-wise, because I do like it, that when she casts Detect Magic, that her necklace glows and then her eyes also glow white as she begins looking around.
Yes.
Yeah. However, the main thing that's in the center of the hoard, where is what looks to be like after the police arrived, that Umbra was originally put into chains and stuck to the ground while she was knocked unconscious, and all the vines around her that you originally tied her up with were gone, and she looked to be like healed. They're not mean. They did heal her, but made sure she was also restrained. And you definitely, as you get closer, you can definitely tell that there is some like binding. I know that's not the right word, but like binding magic with the chains. However, the main thing, as you also notice right away, that her head has been covered as a giant red splatter. It forms around where the cover is.
Yeah, Crystal's going to be sidestepping that fairly large.
Question. TOC very clearly saw the color of her blood the other day. It was red the other day, right?
I want you to make a history check with advantage.
Oh, with advantage, thank you.
While Author is rolling that, is there any magic coming off of the dragon body other than the binding magic on the chains?
17 minus 1 is a 16.
You say,
nice.
All right. For answer your question, no, because this is pretty much a dead body laying in front of you. Maybe there is some remnant magic, but nothing much.
Always good to check.
However, TOC, you do slightly remember, it's like, wait, something is slightly off. Like, the blood color's fine, but there was something else that is, like, scratching on the tip of your tongue, that you feel like you should be seeing something, but you cannot think about what it is.
God, this tracks, because if they're really tired and they're kind of pushing themselves, then the magic that's keeping them person is probably slightly shaky. Can they I think that they stare at the body. Stare at the body. They stare at the body. Something isn't there.
What did you say? And say Captain Luma looks towards you.
Listen, I am too tired for thinking. But something isn't here.
That's very concerning. The only thing that we found missing was the gem. As he then motions his hand toward where the gem was, and it's been taped off, along with the black core that was still on the ground, but you don't see that little pile of goo that was originally in the middle of it.
Okay, the goo is still gone. Does that like satisfy like that niggling feeling in their head of like?
Nope.
Great. No, that wasn't it. Oh boy. They're just like, you know how Winnie the Pooh is just like think, 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 think. They're doing that. I think what they're going to do is sort of like spin in a circle and look at the horde and look at the body and look at the police inspector and look at Crystal and just see if anything reminds them of anything.
You say you can make a history check, another history check, while say Crystal can make an investigation if they want.
Yeah, I'd love to do that.
Okay, that's it. That one on the bed.
Aww.
Unless it's in that 20, say you can re-roll it.
I don't think that's gonna cut it.
No.
Natural 18 minus 1, so 17.
You remember yeah, Crystal, you're just trying to take everything in right now. And it's just like, there's a lot to take in. There's a horde. There's a dead dragon body that definitely wasn't dead before. And there's this Iker. You're just trying to take anything in. However, Arthur...
Yeah, it probably doesn't help that she's got Detect Magic up, and I'm imagining that any of the items in the Horde that are magical items are probably pinging that and distracting her as well.
Yeah, there's definitely a couple magical items that are left that are still pinging off the chart. Like, this dragon, this Horde is big, but at the same time, isn't, like, massive. Compared to, like, what you've read on, like, how big some of these hordes can get. However, Arthur, with that 18, you do remember an offhand mention that the professor did say that he may have, in the corner where one of the dragon pile hordes were, he did maybe saw a entrance to a secret passage.
Question: does that satisfy the niggling urge that something isn't there?
On the body, no.
Okay, so they're still grappling with that. But they're just like, wait, bitch, fuck, like, congratulations. They're just like swearing to themselves in the middle of the ground, and they just stalk over and they point that.
What? And Captain Luma goes over to TOC. It's say, what are you pointing to?
How, like, I feel like the professor showed them the secret entrance.
Well, you saw there was like evidence of it. It was all covered in the Horde. It still is. But there seemed to be on the ground, if you look closely, evidence of a possible door.
There's a door here. Look, you see those scrapings?
Let me see. As he does bend down and look at the scrapings. By gosh, it is a door. Maybe this is... But that couldn't be. How could they move all of that gold in such a rushed time? This couldn't be the entrance that they did, but at least this could lead to something else. Thank you for showing this. We will investigate it.
Question about the door. Could something very small slip through it without moving gold?
No.
Okay. Is the gold in the same sort of configuration as last night?
You would have to roll an investigation check.
Oh, Jesus. Why are you torching my chicken?
I'm sorry, This is a mystery game.
19 minus 1 is an 18.
Nice.
You actually recognize Safe is like, no, the gold has been shifted.
The gold has been shifted.
You have no idea how it could be shifted since it's a fucking giant pile of gold, but it has been shifted.
Like, sorry, the whole ass pile?
The whole ass pile.
That raises more questions than it answers.
Yeah, like, TFC is just like... I fucking hate this university. I think they just, like, go over to Crystal and just, like, gold's been shifted.
What?
The gold has been shifted since last night. The gold is in a different fucking configuration than it was last night.
That is impressive amount of either magic or dedication. And she's gonna shake her head and dismiss the detect magic because that's kind of getting in the way at the moment. I don't know, do you want me to look at anything there? I was thinking of checking the Ica.
I think that's a good idea. We might circle around to the gold. I'm just, as a very strong person, I am outraged that someone has, like, pulled this. This is just, like, I'm super tired. And my emotions are not what they should be. But they moved all of the gold. Not some of it, all of it. Who moves all of this, like, a huge pile of little things, instead of just shoveling it to the side, they move the entire pile, and I am outraged. Also, a woman is dead.
Yes, that too. But, I mean, if you noticed it, but has anyone else? Because that could... Shifting gold piles would be much more obvious than putting it back.
I did point out to the police chief, he did not seem to have noticed himself.
I didn't notice anything myself, but then I haven't seen this place. This is the first time I'm seeing it.
I think TUC will just write down in their notebook, like, shit about the police chief.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's just like, also you would know with that high enough roll, it's just like, you would notice it'd be shifted because you like fought in here and stuff. But it's just like, it was also like a very subtle shift. Like, it's for someone who's like trying to go on to an investigation, it's just like, maybe they wouldn't notice it right away, but maybe they would eventually.
Yeah.
TUC takes a second and, like, okay, as a strong person, if I was going to move the gold, I would do it by hand. You, as a magic person, how would you move the gold?
Depends. Some spells would maybe see it as a single item, whereas others would not. I would probably try levitate, to be honest. I do know that can lift up to 500 pounds of weight.
I think that's more than 500 pounds of gold. Question is, like, approximately 500 pounds of shit moved? Or is it, like, all of the gold?
It's not all of the gold. It's just this one particular pile that is covering the entrance. It's not like the whole gold in the back. It's just this one particular spot.
Okay. Does it look like a 500-pound pile?
I'm trying to think of I'm trying to do math in my head.
How many jelly beans are in the jar, Winona?
A little bit more than that, I think.
Okay, so not feasible unless they also had someone who was strong.
I mean,
But
that's your theory.
it is TFC. This is in character. This is like TFC looks at the ceiling. This is my theory. Calm down. But we also know that they could hit shit because a bunch of people have bonkus of the conkus.
There are items that can help out with that sort of thing.
That's
Though,
true.
the thing that is concerning me is that you said the gold was in the doorway.
So they had to be in here first in order to leave that way.
Yes, it would have been extremely difficult to come in from that way without moving the gold or being in here first. And we don't know if it even is an entrance. It could be another area with something else in it that they were trying to get into.
Question, Winona. It's the entire reason that we're freaking out about the gold is that it's not on the pile right now, right? It's not on the secret entrance.
It is on the secret entrance right now.
It is?
It is. It still is. It has been shifted, so someone moved this pile of gold off the entrance and then put it back on.
Yeah, which is leaning towards Crystal's theory of someone didn't use that to get in and out of this place. They went in there for something else.
Or there was an accomplice. I think we definitely need to figure out what's down there.
Potentially.
Just one aside, Winona, I have chills. Like, this great, wonderful storytelling. Great job. You have successfully freaked out the chicken. And also me.
You're welcome. I'm glad you enjoy it.
Crystal is probably mumbling, like, under her breath a little bit, like, along the lines of, I have Misty Step, but that requires line of sight. Blink would work. That allows you to go onto the material plane probably, like, long enough to leave the material plane probably long enough to get through a doorway. Still, that does not help us get in there. Not without moving the gold ourselves, and whether we would be allowed around the police.
What about that fancy spell that lets you, like, be rock and move through rock? Is that anything?
That sounds familiar. I'm not super familiar with it. There's also other things. I know there's Dimension Door, and there's the ability to become fog, which can allow you to move through very thin spaces. There is a lot of magic ways to get in and out of places. I don't have access to most of it.
Well, we are in a university. So, in theory, we could get the police chief to help us vet someone with whatever skill we want, and then just be like, you, come here. There has to be at least 100 different magic users at this university. Someone has to have something.
Yes.
Alright.
There are probably other things I would like to check in here first, though, before we did that.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, if you want to roll investigation check, you can. I'm going to go to the restroom really quickly.
Yep.
at you. Man.
That's better.
What'd you get?
I got a 19
Yay.
plus 8.
Jesus.
I was hoping I could roll Arcana and use my plus 11 in that, but maybe later.
Whew. Okay.
This
Man.
is what she does. She's
Yeah.
got 20 years experience doing this. Maybe not exactly this, but...
Yeah, and it's the reason why TOC was like, you, Crystal, come here, you're going to beat the intelligence score that I do not have even a little bit.
Yeah. The Arcana one went up recently because I took a level in Rogue after everything that she's been through. But I did not realize recently that put it up to a plus 11, and I was just like,
I need to check my draft points to see if I need to level TOC up to 9. Because holy shit. It's been a while since I counted draft points, and they've been involved in a lot. But I did take the opportunity leveling them up to 8 to give them Mage Slayer.
Oh, nice.
So I am just very fond of that. I am very pleased for my chick, and they're going to get into so much shit.
Hello, I am back. Ooh, that's a high number.
Yeah. I was
Alright.
saying to Author, I'm a little bit sad I didn't get to roll Arcana for that one and have a plus 11 instead.
Yeah. Investigation first, then Arcana. Because with a investigation check like that, you notice you go over and look at the Iker, which looks to be in a splattered, like, something fell down and splattered, which obviously was the gem, and then when it cracked open, it just splattered on the ground.
Yeah, that lines up with what TOC told them.
However, with that high of a check, you could definitely tell that one of these splatters ain't like the other. As one of the splatter lines that goes out from the center looks a little bit thicker than others. And you feel, and again, with that high, it's just like, you definitely could tell that whatever from something, the goop from the middle crawled a bit into, and then disappearing.
Yep. Oh God. Oh Jesus. Oh. I hate you, right?
However, you also notice that because of how messy it is, like, there's, like, footprints everywhere from the battle, like, very scuffed off ground. You wouldn't notice this at first, but you notice, like, there's kind of a little divot, in the ground, almost like maybe that this goop was scooped up in something.
Oh, that's well, is that better or worse than what they'd been assuming so far? Because, that probably means that it's not in someone, but then it also means that someone deliberately grabbed it and is not telling the police captain. So, I think Crystal is gonna quietly say to TOC, "You were right about the goop," and gonna point out the trail. It moved.
Oh no. Oh jeez. Oh, I hate that so much. Oh jeez. Oh, it's God's fucking save us from demonic fucking buggers. Like, it's Crystal, this is TOC's version of, like, almost like haunted house. Like, they're scared for other people, they're scared for their own well-being, and then there's just like, oh no, that's creepy, oh that's not good. I hate that so much. Apparently when they do that, they swear a lot. Yeah, they just stare they stare at the police chief and they're just like, do we tell them? Do we not? Do we tell them? Do we not?
The thing that concerns me is that something picked up the goop.
Someone knew
Something
about
or someone.
So someone knew what was in the gem. Probably the same person who gave her that horrible notebook.
Or the gem in the first place.
It was part of her, Crystal. It was like embedded. Um at the time I just imagined it was just part of her, but the idea that she had some sort of parasitical I think it's
TOC, please roll a history check with advantage again.
sure. Nat 20.
Oh my god,
nice.
I planned for the nat 20 and you got it. You remember what was missing from the body. You remember exactly when the gem came out and it broke that she was stuttering. That black ichor was actually coming out of her a little bit. Not in her blood, but in her windpipe a little bit. And you notice in that body, in the mixture of the blood from the head, there was no sign of the mixture of the ichor. Not the blood itself, but the mixture of the ichor. There was no ichor mixed along with the blood.
I think they stand bolt upright and march over, and I'm not going to make you describe anything, but they jerk back the cloth to just make sure that there's no ichor.
Yeah, you look underneath the cloth. Yeah, that's a very bludgeoned head, and say pieces are everywhere. But
Ooh, okay.
but yeah, not gonna describe it any more than that. But yeah, you do not see ichor anywhere from this head.
There's none on the ground.
Nothing on the ground.
Okay. Question. I'm so sorry, everyone. I'm so sorry that I'm making us linger on this. I can't believe we're just Lizzie Borden crime photoing this shit. But, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, don't Google it.
I remember it barely. However, you also then check the rest of the body because you know for sure that, out of curiosity with that nat 20, you also notice she got stabbed near her the joint where her wings was. That was severely injured, and even with healing, there should be at least somewhat of a mark. There is no mark at all.
This is not the same person.
You conclude that this is not her body.
They just start Donald Donald Duck just hopping in place. They're just they're so fucking mad.
Yeah, this it is quote unquote her body, but it's not her. Even with that nut 20, you don't even see any marks on the face.
I hate this so much. Question, is this is the concave the bludgeoning marks back of the head or front of the head?
It's on top of the head.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Also very strange.
Yeah, from what you saw, someone took a bludgeoning weapon and just slammed it down and cracked open the skull.
I mean, that would make sense from anyone who would think about what ostensibly happened, because she was chained down and wouldn't have been able to move.
Well, and this is me who's actually like looked at way too many like of photos of similar crimes, but like most of the time, you either go for the back of the head, like if you're think about like hammering in a nail, you're going at an angle.
Mm.
So top of the head is like one, that's a pretty thick part of the skull. I'm so sorry. This is so macabre. This is supposed to be
This
a
is why
fun
I put the
D&D
warnings
thing
in.
about cartoons.
This
is
we
why
put
I
the
put
warnings in.
This is why I put the warnings in.
God. Fair. You know what? That's fair. Sorry, I went to the FPS gallery.
But continue on.
God. But yeah, it's much more, like one, you usually either go for like at least sort of an angled approach. Like you don't just sort of like hammer someone into the ground like a nail. You're coming at them from the front or the back. If she was stuck sitting down, that's one thing, but like there'd still be, a little bit of an angle.
Yeah, there wasn't. You could definitely tell again with that nice way. It was like a hair. It was just like a nail hammered on the head.
I mean, big enough hammer, the straight down would make sense.
Was this a toon person or a real kind person?
You do not know. I mean, this was a toon. It say she was a toon.
Yeah, you don't know who killed her.
Yeah, you don't know who killed her, but you know for a fact that she was a toon.
Well, here's the thing. If you hit a toon in the head with a hammer, it's not gonna kill them. I mean, if you keep at it, maybe, but like, that's just like that's one of the classic gags.
Yeah, it would depend on the genre, but yeah, generally that wouldn't kill a toon.
Yeah. Hey, Crystal, TUC is just like literally just like spitting incoherent next to this body for some reason.
Yeah, she's coming over and just did you find something?
Well, it's not her. I mean, it is her, but it's not her. And like, it's the things are gone and marks are gone. She definitely got stabbed, and the stabbing is gone. And like, I'm so sorry, they're not making a lot of sense.
Yeah,
but they're just like,
I should roll like an insight to get what they're saying.
Yeah, and by the noise you make, you alerted the Captain Luma. He's like, "What is going on? Did you find something?"
This is not the victim.
What?
I mean, it is a victim.
That's impossible. We say this body is we matched the DNA.
Well, apparently she had a twin sister or something, or a clone or something.
Crystal's gonna cast is gonna cast Identify on the body.
You cast Identify and it's a macabre body. It's not like a magical item, which sort of leads with towards but it's like it's not alive. It's just like it really confuses you. It's like it's just like someone would have to make someone would have to make an exact copy of her and put it down here.
Winona, that's an actual D&D spell.
Yeah, I know.
But TUC doesn't know that.
Can I roll either an Arcana or a Medicine to get more information?
Yes.
Ooh,
yes.
Cool.
The forbidden
Please,
Arcana
dice,
roll.
be nice to me. Well, I mean, the benefit of having bonkers modifiers. That's a 21.
Indeed, it's a 21.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing that you could think of that would be able to copy a body exactly is a clone spell. But it would be, you would wonder how the heck did they get it down here? There had to be like some sort of teleportation magic involved, because you had, for a clone, to use the clone spells, you had to put the person's body in a container that is big enough to fit them. So they would have to have a container that's big enough to fit a dragon.
Yeah, there's again the raising of both eyebrows this time, and that is an impressive amount of effort to go to. The most likely thing that they did was use a clone spell, but that requires a lot of equipment, and equipment that is able to hold the size of the clone, and then a way to get it here without anyone noticing. They went to a lot of effort for this.
This is very concerning, especially with this fact. If you're 100% sure that, say that this isn't the right body, that means she could be still out there.
She probably is. So we're dealing with someone with the resources, time, and inclination to fake a dragon's death, but not the intelligence to just splash a little bit of ink on it to make it look like we know she should have looked.
Probably.
And they knew about the goop, but they didn't bother with the ichor.
This feels like that there are definitely more than one person involved in this.
The captain nods. Yes. Most likely. Which is all the more concerning.
We will need to tell the others that we're involved in this.
He nods.
They will be in danger.
I know.
Something has occurred to TUC and they look extremely depressed.
This is all valuable information. But we will do everything in our power to protect all of you.
Thanks.
He's trying. He's really trying.
He is trying. I'm just sorry that the barbarian's like, yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I think Crystal... would this be obvious to her, or should I roll another insight?
Depends what it is.
On TOC being depressed, because if she's picking up on that...
Yeah. I mean, you could roll an insight to see exactly why. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, okay.
And I will say you have advantage.
Okay, I'm gonna need that. That was a 3.
Oof.
Oh, okay, well that's definitely not a 3. That would be a nat 20.
So, you know how TFC is engaged?
Uh-huh.
They probably don't want to marry someone who's under witness protection while a dragon is, potentially gunning for them.
Yeah.
So they're just like, oh god, we're gonna have to put it off another few months. I wiggle though. Like it's in TUC's mind, they're just like, I'm gonna kill him twice for this one.
Yeah, I think Crystal's just gonna kneel down and give a like TAC a little like the scritch like on the back of the neck as like a bit of a comfort, and I'm gonna find her. I'm gonna get this resolved.
Thank you, dear. And like they sort of like they give themselves a shake, and they're just like, yes, as if they didn't already have enough motivation to find the people who've done this. Now they got to do it to get married. But yeah, I think they look at the police chief and they're just like, well, can we talk to some witnesses?
He gives them a low nod. Yes, you can.
At the very least, I feel like it might be appropriate to make sure that they don't have any lingering magical effects on them.
They are currently being treated right now to make sure that they're not. Most of them have been released, but there are some with contusions that we want to make sure that we get the x-ray backs and there isn't further damage to their skulls.
I think they nod.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Should I? You know what? I'm gonna flip a coin. No, I don't have a coin. I'm gonna roll a wisdom to see whether Crystal says what she was thinking or not. All right, that's a 14 plus 5, so 19. Yeah, she's gonna keep her comment to herself.
Can TAC roll insight?
Yeah, go for it.
Excellent. Where the fuck is my d20? 18 plus 7 is 25.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, you can definitely read Crystal that at the we're getting someone to look over them already. There was that moment of yeah, but they're not me.
I think they TUC slightly approves because they're also slightly a prideful bitch. They're just like, if you want something done right, leave it to the best, which is you.
Yeah. And Crystal is definitely proud of her what she's achieved in her specialized role.
Mm-hmm. So what do you guys want to do next?
I think we'd like to talk to the guards.
It takes a little bit, but they eventually get the guards that are not in the hospital. You actually probably could go to the hospital. So Captain Luma would take you to the hospital and tell some of the other guards that were there to come back, and you interview them. Most of them most of them don't know what happened. Most of them were just knocked out immediately, and they had no idea what hit them. It was just something hard from the back of their head.
So someone's sneaky.
Can Crystal roll a medicine on them?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Thank you. All right. That is a 22. Partly it's to make sure that they're okay, but partly she's particularly looking for any discrepancies in injuries between the ones that are remaining.
Most of them are right. There's a big some of the tunes have a big one of those yeah, they got the boo-boo mark on the back of their heads. But no lasting damage stuff. They were just knocked out. Yeah, the real kind are okay to just again not as like noticeable bruise to the back of their head.
Hmm.
The others seem to have no lasting effects, but there seem to be some sort of their eyes are a little bit red. And they did mention that something did happen to them, that something was thrown that they remember. They don't know exactly what, but immediately caused them to go to sleep.
Okay.
So an item,
Hmm.
not like a spell from a spellcaster.
Yep.
Great.
So they were put to sleep and then knocked out?
No, the ones that that were knocked out were on shift. They're walking around the horde. The ones that were knocked out with this item they were around. You saw at the beginning there was like a little like makeshift base to like people. Yeah, make sure like while people rested, they could easily take shifts, but yet they're still there just in case if something happened. So these guys were around the little campfire, near the entrance.
Yeah, it would have been hard to take them out without anyone else noticing, except for with like an item like that.
Mm-hmm.
Man. I think TUC is like relying as much on their insight as they can, and they're just like, okay, is this person telling the truth? Is this person telling the truth? Is this like is it clear that like this wasn't an inside job?
Yeah, all of them say this doesn't seem to be an inside job. It's just like someone came at them that that they were just sneak attacked, from what you've been told.
Can they roll to see if that, like, in my mind, I'm like, oh, that's a rogue. Can I roll to see if the chicken makes that connection?
You can try, yes.
Sure, what skill would this be? Or just straight intelligence?
Probably intelligence.
Oh.
Just for due diligence, the guards with the red eyes, does that seem to be non-magical in nature?
You would have to check.
Okay. So that would be an arcana?
Yep.
Alright.
16 minus 1 is a 15.
Yeah, all of them seem to be truthful. It's just like they have no idea what hit them at all. And it's saying no foul play seems to be in place from the guards.
That's an 18.
The redness itself is like medical, but you sort of get the vibe that it's just like something was sprayed in their eyes or in their face, which is similar to what they described. It's just like they saw an item and then something came out of it and immediately had them come and see. And you get a little bit of vibe of magic coming off them, particularly enchantment magic.
Yeah. That would be some sort of sleep spell would fall under enchantment magic. But then again, so do most charms, so...
Roll persuasion check.
Yeah, okay.
Persuasion.
Yeah.
Crystal is great at that.
We should have brought a people person. We really should have brought a people person.
Yeah, it's not gonna cut
to
it.
see if you get one more tidbit of information.
I don't think so.
Can TSC try?
Yes.
Okay. Come on, let's do those grandma vibes. 16 minus 1. is a 15.
Yes. You do get this little tidbit of information. That one of the guards does, it's just like, they see the grandma chicken, and they're reminded them of their old home. And they feel a little bit more comfortable around you. It's like, I also noticed something else. I think I caught a glimpse of what the object was, or at least what it somewhat looked like. It looked, I don't know, sort of looked kind of like something that an artificer would make.
TOC sighs and write this down. Well, baby, no. Sorry, my cat.
I heard the meow.
Yeah.
Baby, why do you do squeaks? Why do you do squeaks, my sweet child?
They're adorable.
Please imagine that sound coming out of a very large, old tabby cat.
Aww.
Where do you want to fetch him? There we go. No, you cannot drink. He's going for my water. More crimes have been committed. Yes. Anyways, my cat side. TAC has written it down. That this looks artificery.
Yeah, you also note that whatever was thrown down must have been picked up, since it wasn't there when, say, they woke up.
So this was like almost like a sprinkler that like you toss down and it like has an area effect.
Yes.
Okay. Write that down too.
Yeah, I think Crystal is probably still on this tangent a little bit. I think she might ask one of the guards, may I cast Identify on you?
And he or she allows them to do that.
Cool. She's hoping to get a little bit more information about the enchantment magic, and also just check, that there aren't any charm, that it wasn't any sort of like charm magic or any lingering effects on them.
You say there's no lingering effects. Maybe there is like a side effect of the red eyes because of how this magic was presented, but you definitely tell that it is akin to a sleep spell.
Yeah, I think then she'll say that. It looks like some sort of sleep spell, which is at least, well, expected, but thankfully that rules out any sort of charm magic. Hopefully, unless it was particularly subtle and powerful ones that Identify would not recognize, though Identify is usually pretty good at picking up on most of that stuff.
The garden haunt, yeah, it usually is. I have a cousin that does a lot of the magic stuff. I ain't a magic sort of person, but I say that sounds like some magic shit.
Quite.
And Dr. Luma, and I should stop saying Dr. Luma because I know they're related. Me as the one who created them, but I need to say Captain Luma. There's too many Lumas.
All the Lumas.
The Captain Luma nods, just like yes.
You could say that the storyline has lumosity.
Yeah. No one has commented on that, on his last name. But of course, I don't think TOC has met Luma yet. They've heard of him.
We're illuminating the situation.
Yeah.
You could say that they're their meeting with Dr. Luma is looming.
Yeah. Yes.
God, this
We're
is
having
very
fun.
serious FPS full of crime and murder.
Yeah.
Mm.
God.
Yeah, but Captain Luma
Okay.
nods, just like, thank you. Say, thank you.
I think Crystal would nod and just, this is what I do.
He nods. Though, if there's not anything else you want to do, I highly recommend going and getting some rest. And he looks at TOC specifically.
TAC stares back. You don't control them. I think they would like to just talk to Amos real quick. Like, now that the assembly, the meeting is done, they're just like, okay.
Yeah, you get back to the theater department where he is in his office, and somehow it's more cluttered than before.
That is impressive. But they're just like, okay, wait. I think that like there's a small scene where they're just like,
Paperwork just piles out the door.
yeah.
Sorry about the mess, but you know the shit that just went down.
Mm.
Yeah, they ushered Crystal in, pushed some papers around so that they can shut the door.
Yeah.
And they just sort of like navigate until they can see this person.
Yeah, say he sort of scooted some papers away, so you see like a little window where his desk was.
I'm just picturing like the stacks of paperwork like on either side and then somehow forming a bridge over the top so there's this just like this
Yes.
window cut out. That you
Yes,
can
there
look
is.
Like a ticket booth.
Exactly.
God. But yeah, TSC is just like, okay, so the dragon's not dead.
Excuse me? She ain't dead?
Someone cloned her and made it look like she was dead.
That's an 8th level spell. That's some powerful magic.
Yes, indeed.
Ugh. This is not good. We need to find someone and put them in charge right away. We need a lot of things right now, and it doesn't help that half the staff quit.
I mean, after everything that happened, I don't think you can blame them.
No, I do not. I don't blame them in the slightest. But for those who are left, I say it's just making life very difficult.
TUC starts to say something, pauses. Because they do know someone who's very, like, well, magically inclined, capable, has a vested interest in the university, but they're not sure if Sally would like them just putting her out like that. So they're just gonna be like, well,
I smile at the camera.
if I see anyone, who is both moral competent and willing to put up with this place's honestly ridiculous amounts of bullshit, I will send them your way. In the meantime, especially because I know that your family has a vulnerability in all this, we wanted you to know that she's still fucking out there.
I mean, I'll have to talk to say this is a thing for the whole staff, and I know that Captain Luma has the book, but it needs to be guarded at all times now. since the curse is still technically not fully lifted yet.
No, that is particularly worrying.
Yes, I agree.
Perhaps... okay, I'm gonna roll this because Crystal has had an idea. She doesn't know if it's a good idea. She doesn't know if she wants to go through with this idea, but it is an idea.
All right.
Okay, well, that was a nat 20 on her wisdom, so
Ooh.
I think she is going to offer this up. With the essentially, like, her train of thought is perhaps someone who they don't know is involved with the case taking the book as protection so that that it can't be gotten a hold of as easily.
Mhm.
And considering she is here, she wasn't involved in the case, and as far as she's aware, she's not down in any of the notes yet from the police captain about being on site. Like, she's potentially thinking about offering to take the book herself so that it can't be as easily tracked.
I mean, out of character, I will point out that she is living with someone who is a case.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
Yeah.
like TUC would be like, can we not make Juniper's house even more of a target than it already is?
Yeah.
However, Hing Candle,
Yeah.
you know who's recently back in town?
Oh, yeah.
Who has experience with magical artifacts, and also just really likes dangerous shit.
Yeah, and who travels often and is very hard to pin down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is definitely not on paper in any place other than university, far away from UPA.
Would you like to share with the audience?
This would be. Wait, no. Candle, would you like to share?
Crystal's Auntie Lich is in town currently, who is one of Arthur's wonderful characters. And, yeah, Crystal has shown her, around. I don't actually know where Lich is staying currently, but she's visiting her great nieces.
I think that it's sort of ambiguous whether or not Lich is sort of homeless right now. This is often the case with this person. Don't worry about it. But she has been being a magical researcher for longer than you've been alive.
Fair enough.
Crystal has pretty extensive history under her belt of being a magical researcher, and it still pales in comparison to Lich.
I just really want that conversation of like, hey, could you help out with this? Help out with what?
I need you to take this book. It's cursed, and we don't want the person who the dragon who had it getting it back.
We saw each other yesterday. What the fuck? Like, she'll take it and just be like, oh, a dragon might show up for this. But like, also, this has been a very dramatic case with a very quick turnaround.
I will say, just out of character, if you don't want us to end up with the book for your own scheming, Winona, that's fine, but we are offering a solution to keep it potentially out of unwanted hands.
This is fair. I will definitely think about it.
Mhm.
But yeah, Amos does nod at this. And it's just like, interesting. But you will have to probably talk to Captain Luma about this.
Yes.
And
At the very least, I might talk to him anyway about keeping my name out of the investigation, to limit any link, or targeting if should anything else go wrong.
Aye, that is a good idea. I know that you are a researcher, but you are partially also a citizen. You're not. I don't think you're a detective. Of course, I don't keep up on all these things.
No, I am not a detective. I just work with them on occasion.
What's your spell?
Perhaps you can be comforting an elderly family member. And TUC, like, sort of flips up at you, like, like, oh, yes, look at me, I'm so distraught.
Yeah, there's a... Yes. You and I are gonna need to talk about that later, by the way.
Talk about which?
About... later.
Wait. Do you think an 11 does it?
Yeah, it's average.
I think so.
TUC, like, this is like, oh boy. Oh no. Oops.
Amos does chuckle a bit at that. Well, you should probably get going with that. We can say, I will alert the heads about the developments here, and of course we'll keep things still hush-hush. But you'll need rest. And you also looks like you need to talk about stuff too, so just be safe.
You as well.
Thank you for your help, Amos.
Amos nods.
Actually. One moment. Yep, alright, that's fine. Crystal reaches into her hammer space and she's gonna pull out one of her business cards to hand to Amos with a... because I'm pretty sure TOC doesn't really have a way to get in contact through anything. I know the professor doesn't, and I don't know about Sully and Scribbles and Marigold, so...
Yeah, you can get the Scribbles easily enough, but... Yeah. Say Amos does take the card. And
if you need to get in contact with us.
Alright. Thank you.
TUC does have like a post box, but this is good as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, partially she did that as well because, again, thinking about the whole Juniper situation and the less information they have about that, the better. So at least that's Crystal's sending stone number, not an address.
Yep.
Yeah. Luma will most likely probably go around them pretty fast, but I'm not very sure if you want to talk to them first instead. This is a development that is very concerning, and all parties that have been involved should probably be notified immediately.
I am very much going to yes, we have a system set up for communication. I will make sure that everyone knows as soon as they are physically able. And whether or not that's a fellowship meeting or if TUC just like physically hunts everyone down and is just like, hey fuckers, guess what shit just went down.
Yeah.
I think that's to be determined.
Yeah.
Yep.
Captain Luma is at least gonna write everyone a formal letter.
I think actually TUC will pull out piece of paper, address it to Squirrels, and just be like, the dragon was supposed to be dead, she's not dead, she's escaped. TOC. And just like addresses it to Scribbles and like sends it off.
Scribbles.
Fantastic.
Yeah, Scribbles. I can just imagine Scribbles just having a peaceful morning with Sally. Maybe Marigold's there too, and they receive the letter. And it's just like, well, that just ruined our whole entire day. Thanks, TOC, but thank you for telling us.
Also, but I love the dragon is not dead. Which, Scribbles didn't even know that the dragon was potentially dead in the first place.
Yeah, so there's definitely a lot of questions.
Like, that's the gist of it. Like, that's, they can, again, a fellowship meeting, I think, is at this point is imminent.
Yeah.
But TUC is just gonna be like, what's the quintessence of the situation? What's the zeitgeist? Like, what can I distill here? Dragon's not dead. It was supposed to be dead, but it's not. It's escaped.
Yes. Oh.
They're expecting questions.
Yeah. We can discuss this all off camera. Is there anything else you like to do?
I think that's it.
Yeah, I can't think of anything other than maybe on the way back to the teleportation circle, and when they get home, Crystal and TOC actually having a bit of a long conversation about the whole parent-child adopting situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, like TOC is just like, listen. At this point, I default to parent labels, but I think it's really more up to your comfort. I apologize for not running this by you before. I put you in an uncomfortable situation. And it's we can do this out later, but I think that for today they just want to make it crystal clear that Crystal is not being pressured into anything. She's still welcome in their house regardless. They're just, very pleased to get to, enjoy being her friend and being, a part of her unit.
Yeah, I think Crystal probably responds in kind of that she's not upset, and the idea doesn't upset her. It just threw her off guard because she was not expecting it in the slightest, and she's gonna need some time to think about it.
Aww.
Yeah. I think, I kind of enjoy the idea of, their self-care after this is, they go and make pancakes, and then TOC falls asleep in their pancakes.
Yes.
Yes.
Which I think is a perfect way to end off this little bit angsty FPS with some soft.
Yes.
The after credit scene is TUC snoozing in their pancakes while paper airplane after paper airplane lands next to them of Scribbles being like, what's going on? Please answer me. What do you mean? What do you mean the dragon isn't dead? Was it supposed to be dead?
Yes.
I also love the imagery of this being because they went incredibly early in the morning for this, so they've probably gotten back before people are even awake. So Crystal is cooking breakfast for everyone in the house as the paper aeroplanes are filling up the table next to the sleeping TOC.
Yeah.
Doesn't move them, they're just on the table. They didn't take a lot of real estate up.
Yeah. But anyways, thank you all for listening in on this. I had an amazing time.
Yeah, this was good fun.
Yeah.
Winona, thank you so much for an incredible story.
No problem. I say thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.